This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords.
I am definitely a madman with a box.
Anyone for jelly, baby?
I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castobrus.
Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we are at episode 57. What a week.
Yes, wow.
What a week it's been.
Oh, it's been immense.
It's been crazy. Like the whole world's just gone Doctor Who mental.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Which is a good thing. It's really cool. I love this first week of Who. Because there's just a massive combination of like people going crazy, people loving it, people hating it, the fallout, everything. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I knew this episode was going to create a big sort of difference of opinion and a lot of discussion, and it certainly has. And the buzz on Saturday night, my goodness, it was just brilliant. I tell you, I love it.
Yeah, and it's cool that after it went out that Doctor Who or The Magician's Apprentice, whatever was trending number one on Twitter, that's always good.
Yes, I actually said to my partner, I said, look, just watch a film now because I'm going to be on my phone for the next hour or two. Because I said, it's just, I just want to chat to everyone about this. Because it was just, it was all kicking off. It was brilliant in a good way. I mean, it was just, it was just amazing to hear everyone's thoughts on the episode. Yeah,
it was very cool. And it's also one of those times where you start talking to people who are not really Doctor Who fans about Doctor Who, just because they're caught up in the whole thing. So, you know, I know a couple of friends of mine who don't really watch Doctor Who. They're not really into it at all. But then they ask you the inevitable question because it's such a popular show. They're like, so you watch Doctor Who on Saturday night? I was like, yeah, of course. And then you start talking to them, and then you can see that little nugget of interest,
of curiosity, yeah.
And you think, are they gonna get into Doctor Who? Possibly.
And did they watch it though? That's the thing. Did they watch it?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Because this brings me on to two things. I was going to talk about it later, but I'll talk about it now while I remember. Because I'll kick myself if I don't talk about these. Two things. I mean, one thing is this episode. A lot of people have been saying wasn't very accessible to the casual viewer. It was for the fans. And I kind of agree with that, but I'm not sort of going into episode review here, but people have had 10 years to get into Doctor Who. If they haven't got into it by now, then I haven't got any, I don't feel sorry for them. But the other thing, the main point I wanted to make is that I think people could watch it as a standalone, even if they hadn't watched Doctor Who before. And the viewing figures, the overnight viewing figures were so low for an opening episode, but I just don't believe it because everybody was, I've never known an episode just go so mental for a long, long time about Doctor Who. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Everybody seemed to be watching it. And like you said, people who don't normally watch it were sort of speaking about it. I just don't believe that overnight figure. I think I don't know how they calculate it or whatever, but I think it's wrong because I've never known an episode get such a buzz.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure because it's weird because it was the second watched show of the night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it got 4 point something million, which is really low for a series opener.
Apparently,
really.
Yeah, for a series opener, yeah. But you know, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure if they've taken iPlayer or anything like that into account yet.
No, I mean it's just an overnight. I mean, a couple of million will probably get added on,
but
it still makes it quite a low. I think the overnight for Deep Breath was something like 6 point something million.
Yeah,
that went out to nearly 8 or 9. So this one will probably go up to around about 6 or 7, which is not. It's decent, I suppose. But like you said, the important thing to remember is it's still the second most watched program of the night. So that's the important thing. But yeah, I just don't believe that figure because I just see it seemed to me that everybody was watching it. I think there was quite a buzz about this episode. And I understand the thing that everybody watches, nowadays we watch it on catch up and whatever. But I think for the first episode, most people like to be in front of the TV, don't they? I mean, I really hate to miss the first episode of a new series. I have to be there, on the night at that moment.
Yeah. Well, the thing with it is, stop selling it in cinemas for weeks before, and then maybe more people would watch it, in front of their TVs, maybe.
Yeah, and also the spoiler thing, because there were a lot of spoilers going around, and a couple of friends, said, "Oh God, I've just opened my Twitter feed and I've just seen this image," and so things were. I said, "Oh gosh, the sooner this episode airs, the better," because there were so many things going round about it. Because obviously there'd been premieres and pictures had leaked and stuff. That I was just feeling sorry for people, because people were asking me, because obviously they knew we saw the episode in advance, and they were asking me about it, and I said the least you know about it, the better. And I know that sounds really smug and really harsh, but it really is true, because when I watched it, I didn't know. The only thing I knew, I'd heard the rumor about the kid. That was the only thing I knew. So the rest of it, I was really like, I was literally gasping through all of it, and I wanted everyone else to get that same experience. And I know Tom Dix, who listens to the show, opened up Twitter and saw a picture of who and was just mortified. And he just had to. I said, "You just stayed off Twitter for the rest of the day." He's like, "I can't believe I've seen that." So yeah, I just think, I'm glad to hear people were watching it, like you said, that perhaps weren't, haven't watched it before. Perhaps it got them into it.
Yeah, I don't expect them to watch all of it, the whole series, but at least they watch the opener just to see what, quote unquote, what all the fuss was about.
Yes, yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah, and there certainly has been a lot of fuss, hasn't there? In a good way. There's been a good buzz around this episode of this series, I think.
Yeah. We will come on to that in a little while. We've got some other stuff to do first.
Yes.
Actually, yeah. How have you been, mate, anyway, for last week, apart from being swept up in the whole episode 1 whirlwind? Have you been up to anything?
Yeah, no, I've been good. I have. I'm still chatting to people about it. It's quite difficult because I've been trying not to say too much because I wanted to save it for the review. So I've been a little bit muted, sort of lingering in the back of forums and stuff, and just checking out what everyone's reaction is. And other sort of things, I've been watching a bit of the Horror Channel. I watched Greatest Show of the Galaxy last night, much to my partner's bemusement. Hates the Horror Channel, hates coming in and the Horror Channel being on. That is a story I'm really looking forward to doing with you. Apart from that, not much else. So my first delivery of the history collection arrived this morning. I subscribed to it, and I got a big heavy parcel this morning.
Cool.
Because I did subscribe, and I thought, well, I may just sort of cancel the subscription after I've got all the free gifts. And the first bundle is like just over £10, and I've got the first 3 issues, which are glorious. I've got to tell you, I love this book, magazine, whatever you want to call it. And it's got like a little plastic cup in there and a little Doctor Who wallet. And I was like, all of this for a tenner. This is, I know it goes up after. I'm not a mug. I know the price goes up, but so that's quite nice. I'm looking forward to flicking through those later because they are really nicely produced, I have to say. Yeah. So that's arrived, and that's pretty much been my week. It's just been a really good little roller coaster of a Doctor Who ride, really.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. What about you? I know something good happened to you this week.
Yeah, I had.
Tell me.
Yeah, so thanks to Cousins, one of our listeners, Cousins 2019. He sent a message to say that that limited edition Comic-Con thing.
Yes, the
thing.
Funko Pop.
Yeah, the Capaldi Doctor in the orange spacesuit. Mm-hmm. It was like, yeah, it's come back in stock. I was like, yay! So I swiftly reordered that, and that arrived yesterday.
Yes, I saw your picture on the Facebook page. It's a great fit. It's a great one, actually. It's a really good variant. It sold
really
out really quick, mate. I mean, even though you managed to get one on the second go, I think even then you were quite lucky because they almost immediately took the link down. Yeah, so I'm glad you got one. It's a great figure. Yeah,
it's very cool, and it's really good as well because with the Popco,
I like that.
With the Pop Funko figures, there are times, and I've got a couple of them where the paintwork isn't that great on some of them. The quality it does.
Oh, it really varies. I know, so have I. Yeah.
This one's perfect though.
Oh, good.
So I'm really glad about that. So I've been gushing over that a little bit. I did pick up issue 1 of the Complete History.
Oh yeah.
Which I really, really like. I don't think I'm going to subscribe to the lot.
No, well, I mean, if you work it out when it actually finishes, it's a lot of dough.
Yeah.
It is. I have to say, it's really nice. What's turned up this morning is a really nice little set. They sent me the first 3, and obviously the second one is Pertwee, third one's Capaldi. So it is nice. But yeah, I don't know how long I will continue the subscription for. I'm going to see, but it's a really nice, like you say, publication, and it's very nicely produced.
It is.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the quality is very good, and the information is very, really in depth as well.
Yeah.
It really dives into the whole behind the scenes thing, and like planning, pre-production, production, post-production, the whole thing. It's really, really good.
Yeah, the only thing, because it talks about some of the merchandise as well, and the only thing I would say, and I've only looked at the first issue so far, is it talks about the merchandise for each episode. I would have liked to have seen some pictures, because I love my merch, and that's the only thing I would say. When I saw in the introduction bit, it's going to be talking about, like you said, it really goes into detail about each episode, and then it was the last bit I think is about the merchandise that came out for each episode. So it talks about the figures and things. So I was hoping there'd be a few pictures of that, because I love seeing all the old merch. I mean, when Doctor Who first came back, there was loads of merchandise. Like, you go into Woolies and there'd be loads of Doctor Who stuff on the shelf. So, yeah, I was kind of hoping to see a few pictures of the old figures and going, I bought that one. I've got him somewhere in the loft. You know what I mean? But I don't know. They might do that in further issues. I haven't had a chance to check.
Okay, maybe.
But it is good.
Yeah. What else have I been up to? Been chatting to, when I put on the podcast last week that I had started to re-listen to Davros, the Big Finish play. So I finished listening to that. Really glad I did that. And then a couple of peeps jumped on and recommended the I, Davros series.
Yes, I've heard that's really good.
Yes. Yeah. So I will probably check that out. Also had some people recommend the next exclusive Pop Funko, which is the New York Comic Con exclusive, which is the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, in the orange spacesuit.
Yeah, I saw this online, and I don't know if it's already gone, because I clicked on the link and it wasn't there. But hopefully that'll come back online, because I'd like to get that one as well. There's a Dalek, isn't there? A Dalek's reveal as well, exclusive, that's just been announced.
Yes. Yep.
A black Dalek with like the mutant coming out of it. That looks really cool.
Yeah, it does look very, very cool. I haven't even ordered any of the regular run Doctor Who Pop Funkos yet.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just get these exclusives out of the way, because those ones will be around for a little while, I think. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, get the exclusives. I noticed yours has got the sticker on, and I don't know too much about this. I know a lot of people say, it's got mine hasn't got that exclusive sticker. I was a little bit jealous when I saw yours, because I think I got mine the first time around when you should have got it, when you ordered it, and it didn't turn up. But mine hasn't got that exclusive sticker on, and that's quite a big deal, isn't it, amongst the Funko collectors?
It can be if you keep them all boxed and don't open them. Then some of the exclusive, especially some of the San Diego and New York Comic Con ones, are quite, I wouldn't say rare, but they're more sort of, because that's what I thought. I thought, mine hasn't got that Funko thing on it. Well, I think the Matt Smith one I have has it. It's got some sort of Funko exclusive, but my spacesuit one didn't. And also, I haven't taken him out of the box. And you saying about the paintwork, I think I ought to check him over, actually, because some of the ones I have taken out of the box have been, they're a bit, I don't know, they're obviously sort of, the paint jobs can be very, very dodgy. I mean, my Daleks have got loads of splodges, and I mean, how can you get a Dalek wrong? But mine's got like a few splodges on it, and they do really vary. I have to say, I often do check every one in the shop. Those ones are ordered online because they're exclusives and stuff. But I better take him out and check. He might only have one eye or something. one eye.
Yeah, better check him out actually.
So I might order that one. I might try and hunt that one down and give it an order as well.
Yeah, well, he is your doctor. I think you ought to.
Yeah. And lastly, thank you very much to one of our Twitter followers. He sent us a really nice screenshot of something a few days ago. I think he was looking at the official podcasts app on his iPhone, I believe. And he sent me a screenshot. So so it was Martin, and his Twitter name is @BadWilf.
Oh yes, yeah. I listened to that podcast. Yeah,
it's really cool. So he sent me this screenshot, and in the TV and film category, we're number 36.
Oh wow!
Out of like the world, I guess, that whole category. Cool. So that's all thanks to you guys. So thanks so much for listening every week and reviews and stuff. That's very, very cool.
Cheers! Oh, cheers, Martin. That's ace.
It is ace. It's ace.
It's ace.
Anything else been up to? Not really.
No, well, it's all been the Magician's Apprentice stuff, isn't it? It's all just been
all
of that.
All of that gumph.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, should we get the news out of the way so that you guys can,
So we can get into our review because I am kind of buzzing.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it. Let's start the news.
Right.
Let's land it and we'll get the news out of the way.
Okay.
First up this week, this is going to make some of our Down Under friends very happy, but could possibly make some of our friends in the UK quite unhappy.
Have you got that rant music to hand?
I really need to get that, don't I? I'll definitely sort that because we need it. So,
Right.
A couple of weeks ago, we told you guys in our news section that a couple of people have been added to the Doctor Who festival in November. And we had an announcement. I think an email came out to everyone that bought tickets, and there was some Twitter stuff to say, everybody get hyped up and excited because this Friday, or I think it was on the Friday, we're going to be announcing some extra guests. And we were like, wow, this is going to be amazing.
We were like, it's going to be Jenna. Oh, I probably would have put £1,000 Jenna
Yes.
Coleman, obviously.
Yeah, because we thought it's bound to be Jenna, but you're right. But no, it was Mark Gatiss and Nicholas Briggs, I believe.
And Danny the Effects Man. Don't forget Danny.
Danny, sorry. Yep. So that was kind of an anticlimax, really. However, it seems like our buddies Down Under seems to be doing it correctly with their announcement. So if you guys don't know, there's going to be a second Doctor Who festival in Sydney at the end of November. And as well as the people who are going to appear here, which is Peter Capaldi and Stephen Moffat, those guys some people have been added to the roster there, which include Sylvester McCoy, Billy Piper, and Dan Starkey.
A little bit more A-list.
A little bit more. I would have been over the moon if these guys had been announced for the UK one. I don't know about you.
Absolutely, especially Billy. I mean, Sylvester, yeah, fantastic. But we both met him. But yes, he would have been a great addition to the UK one. Billy Piper, I would love. Well, I did meet her at book launch, but rush through. I'd love Billy to have been added to the UK one. That would have been an awesome guest. She hasn't done much UK stuff either, so
No.
she would have been a top one. And Dan Starkey, another great addition. So 3 really good ones there. Does feel like a bit of a kick in the ribs to me.
It does. Yeah.
I'm not going to go off on a rant. I'm not going to go into Mr. Grumpy, but it's a great 3 additions to the Aussie festival. Yeah,
Really good. And I'm sure it's just a matter of, I don't know if it's a matter of timings or, other commitments as to why those people will be in Australia at the time, or if they've just decided, I want to do the Sydney one. I don't know. But yeah, it is a little bit, come on, the UK one was announced first, the whole, we're not going to go into that whole thing, but.
No, but it's seriously lagging. And the fact that they have, they're going to have autograph opportunities at the Australian one as well.
Yes.
That really gets me. As I say, I refuse to go down a rant road today, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. It does seem a little bit, our one is paling in comparison at the minute. And this is not good. They need to up the ante.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Australian listeners, send us some pics with those guys.
Actually, somebody did say on the Twitter feed for the festival, because they're quite good at replying to people, the festival on Twitter, and somebody did say, will we be able to get photos with him? I think they go do autographs but not photos, and they put something like, they replied, no, but you'll be able to take photos in the auditorium and you'll have them forever. Oh,
Wow.
if I got that tweet, I'd probably storm. No, I'm not even going to go there, but I wouldn't be impressed.
Let's support our Aussie listeners though.
Oh
Fair-
yeah, big
fair
time.
play.
I mean,
Yep.
yeah, fair play. It's great. I mean, it's a great festival for them. I mean, it's really starting to take shape. We just need some of this over the UK, and we've only got, what have we got now? October, November, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Yeah,
It's a couple of months, isn't it?
yeah, just under a couple of months.
Yeah.
So they've still got a bit of time to add a few more guests. So let's fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. avoiding the rant. In other news, this is some good news. The season premiere of The Magician's Apprentice has broken records in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the biggest premiere in the States for a key demographic of adults between the age of 18 and 14. So, at an overall, the episode had 2 million viewers watching, which, I mean, obviously, bear in mind this is breaking records. I think I don't get this. Isn't that a really low figure, though? Explain it to me, Gary. I don't quite get it, but it's because America's huge. I'm assuming they do watch television quite a lot over there, but only 2 million are watching, but it's breaking records. It seems like a low figure to me. I don't quite get it.
Okay.
Explain it to me.
Right. So the age group was 18 to 49.
Right.
That was a demographic, or the key thing. So, and also it doesn't take into account all of the American TV networks either. So, and also, yeah, as you said, America is huge.
Yeah.
So, it's it has to be relative, I guess.
So yeah, it's like a sort of a snapshot of like you said, that age group that were watching it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Right, got it. So yeah, so it's broken records in the States. It's nearly double the average that the Series 8 premiere got. So it's really good news. It's great to see Doctor Who doing so well in America, because I think a lot of shows try and break America, and it's not the easiest place to break. And they, so the fact that it's going from strength to strength, I mean, nearly doubling the figure is brilliant.
Yeah.
They're obviously doing something right over there, and it's, I think the fans, we've said this about the cosplayers, the fans are really enthusiastic about Doctor Who, the US Doctor Who fans. I think they really do get behind it, and yeah, it's great, really good news, especially compared to our, limp, disappointing overnight figures. I mean, yeah, this is a definite pickup. So yeah, great news.
Yeah, and they also pushed it quite heavily as well. I've seen quite a few pictures that people have put on Twitter and so on, where they've put like full posters across buses, like posters in the subway. Loads of posters, really pushing it. So I think BBC America have like upped the marketing budget a little bit, which has helped. But also BBC America, it's not one of the biggest channels, in the US. It's I think it is reasonably popular, but compared to some of like the really big dramas and stuff that go out on a Friday night, so channels like HBO and ABC and lots of really big channels, they're getting like massively high.
Oh yeah.
So although this one had like just over 2 million people watching, I think some of their other shows have got like 12, 13 million people. Things like The Big Bang Theory, and they get crazy. So it is all relative, I guess, but it's good that there's a record, in another country. It's very cool.
Yeah, cool. I mean, that's like I said. That's why I didn't quite get why the 2 million seemed low, but yeah, it does make sense in terms of that. And like you said, it's just great to see it breaking records, because it does mean a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well done, great stuff.
Yeah,
Keep watching.
Well done.
Well done, American fans, for supporting the show and watching it.
Next up, we have a bit of confirmation, a bit of closure,
a bit of shock news.
Yeah, because we've had some. We've had some almost confirmed news. So last week we told you that a story had broken that Jenna Coleman was leaving or had left the show. And we never had an official word from Jenna Coleman herself. And we also had this strange article that appeared on the BBC News website, where they were kind of reporting on a rumour, if you like. If you remember, they were saying like, this... That there's news has broken. Even on the BBC News website, they'd worded it something similar to "news has broken," that Jenna Coleman has left Doctor Who to take on a new role as Queen Victoria for ITV. But even the BBC News website didn't say, Jenna Coleman has left. They were kind of reporting on their own rumour.
It's kind of as if they didn't want to be left behind. It's like, we weren't going to break this till next week, but everyone's reporting it, so we better mention it. It was kind of, it's a bit strange, wasn't it?
It was weird, yeah. However, when was it last?
I think it was on the Friday, actually.
The Friday?
Yeah.
Yep. So last Friday, Jenna Coleman was on the Radio 1 Breakfast Show with Nick Grimshaw, and I'm not sure if it was staged to ask her that question or if they were just genuinely interested because of the rumours the week before. But she did, in fact, say, she has left. So, they quizzed her and said, rumour has it that you've left the show. And she says, I have left the TARDIS. The TARDIS? I have left the TARDIS. It's happened. I filmed my last scenes.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. She actually confirmed she filmed her last scenes, because that's the clincher, isn't it? It's not like, I've left. I might, it might be in the Christmas special. She's confirmed she's filmed her last scenes.
Yes.
And she said she's going to leave at some point during the series, which again might mean, I know there was speculation about halfway through and stuff, but yeah, it might mean she won't be there till the very, very end. Because I don't know about you, Gary, but my gut feeling is she's going to leave in the penultimate episode. That's what I think.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, initially I thought that she would hang on until the Christmas special. That's what I initially thought. But I think you mentioned last week that probably wouldn't work because we've got River Song coming back.
Yeah.
And we do know that we're going to get a new companion at some point in this series. So you're right. It's probably she's probably going to be there. I think she'll be there for most of it. Because I think if I've read correctly, she's only just finished filming some stuff.
Yeah, that's the impression I got
in the last fortnight. So I think they're probably a large chunk of the way through production at the minute. So she's probably there till nearer the end. But yeah, it could be the penultimate one. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah, I just got this feeling. I don't know, just reading between the lines of some of the stuff I've heard, and I'm trying to actually. I mean, I do like a mild spoiler, if you like. I do like to know little sort of breadcrumbs of information, but after The Magician's Apprentice, I'm actually trying to stay away from it a bit more than I normally do, because it really did, enlighten, is that the word? My enjoyment of the episode. So yeah, this is why I'm worried that a few sort of more details are going to leak out, and in a lot of ways, I don't want to know. I want it to be a surprise when she leaves, but that's my gut feeling. Gut feeling is penultimate episode.
Okay, so yeah, The Impossible Girl. This is her last outing with the Doctor, which I think is good timing. Really, I think the time is right for her to go now.
I definitely do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she'll go out on she'll go out on a bang in this series. I think the timing is right. Yeah. I'm just wondering, actually, do you think she'll be killed off, or do you think? Because I always think she's the kind of character that Moff would just love to bring back if he could. And I don't know. I would be surprised if she got killed off. Although there are rumours, of course, but don't know. What do you think? Would he do that?
I'm not sure. I mean, Stephen Moffat it's very timey-wimey a lot of the time. So I don't think it really matters if he kills her off or if she just leaves. You know, I think he'll bring her back if he wants to anyway. Yeah,
because I'm thinking of Amy Aurora's death, like how he kind of, I mean, that was a bit of a sort of get out, wasn't it? He's kind of sort of trapped them in that universe, but didn't really kill them off. And yeah, I don't know, he'd probably do something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
No one's ever truly dead, are they? No. Doctor Who, everyone, has potential to come back at some point. So
exactly. Yeah. Poor Aurora, he died about 20 times, didn't he? Yeah.
So yeah, Jenna Coleman, they're booting her out.
Yeah. So it's been confirmed. I mean, I think 2 years ago they were saying she was going to leave, and it's finally been confirmed. So
yeah.
Bye, Clara.
Yeah, and just lastly, just some breaking news. The company that make the Doctor Who figures at the moment, Character.
Oh, yeah.
They've just announced that they're bringing out 2 collectible Missy figures.
Oh.
Yeah. Which you can grab. I'll stick a link to that so you can take a look. There's 2 variants. There's one in her all black get up, and there's one in like the mauvey purpley kind of colour with the hat and so on.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I saw there was going to be an announcement today. Yeah.
The packaging looks nice as well.
Do you get, because you don't really, you get the odd figure, don't you? I know you've got a Dalek and stuff. Is that sort of thing you might pick up? Are you interested in a Missy figure?
Maybe. I'm not really into the figures, like the action figures. I'm more into like the more kind of collectible vinyl stuff and that. Not so much the action type figures. But they do look cool though. I really like the packaging as well. So
I'll definitely be getting them. I love the figures. I just got the 2. They've done 2 versions of Capaldi so far, and I've just got both of them. And I know what you mean about the packaging. It's very sort of simple but classic design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks really good. So I'll probably be picking up a Missy variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will wrap for news. I think it's time, mate.
Yes, it's been a long time coming. I'm ready for it.
So what are we doing this week, Adam?
Well, surprise, surprise, it's The Magician's Apprentice.
You came then. Clearly. Did you suspect a trap?
I still do.
Then why are you here? Did you miss our conversations?
If you had created a virus in your laboratory, something contagious and infectious.
Unimaginable power, unlimited vice.
Everything we saw, everything we lost.
Yes, okay, you've made your point.
Have I?
If someone who knew the future pointed out a child to you and told you that that child would grow up totally evil, to be a ruthless dictator who would destroy millions of lives, could you then kill that child? I get the point.
Do you know why you came, Doctor? You have a sense of duty, of guilt, perhaps, and certainly of shame.
You flatter me.
Pity. I intended to accuse.
Ooh.
It was tense stuff.
Tingle down the spine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So we are at Series 9, the opener, The Magician's Apprentice, or as I said last week, The Witch's Apprentice. Witches, yeah, whatever.
Well, do you realize? Actually, I just got to say, the BBC actually mistakenly called The Witch's Familiar The Witch's Apprentice yesterday. They put up a new clip and they got the name wrong. So maybe they were listening to the podcast.
Probably.
So they actually said, here's a clip from The Witch's Apprentice.
They probably were.
Yeah.
Right, buddy. Wow. Where do we start with this one? So, story-wise, we are plonked into Davros's timeline as a child. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it starts.
That's the start.
There's like there's a war going on, and for some reason he's running around the battleground by himself. I've no idea why a boy would be legging around the middle of a battlefield. I'm not quite sure.
His parents have just, I don't know, perhaps they've just been evaded. It's quite an epic opening, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest, thing that was spoiled, I guess, before this episode went live, was the whole Davros thing.
It was for, the kid Davros, yeah.
Yeah. So we pick up the middle of a battle and Davros is there and this soldier, attempts to save him. But he gets trapped by these hands that are coming out the ground.
Hands with eyes.
Yeah. So that guy initially gets captured by a hand mine, which looks very cool to me.
They did, yeah.
And then Davros gets surrounded by these hands with eyes. The doctor turns up in an attempt to save said child, but upon finding out his name, Scarpers.
Yeah.
Basically. We then pick up later on in our current timeline where the doctor's nowhere to be found. Everything seems to be quite quiet by the set, but I've got that vibe that for the past however many weeks or months, wherever we pick the story up, the universe has been quiet. But that all kind of comes to a crashing halt when Missy turns up, initially by stopping all the aircraft in the world, and essentially an advert for a unit to come and find her, which Clara is now working for, I gather.
It seems like it, yeah.
Yep. So they find Missy. She has some news that the doctor is about to die because he sent her his
confession dial, was it?
His confession dial, yeah, which is like his last will and testament, I guess. So then they have to try and track the doctor down, which they do quite easily, which I'll come on to in a little while. They find the doctor. He's having a good old time, a good old party. While this is all going on, the old Davros is on his last legs, and he's he wants to have like his final revenge on the Doctor. So he sends off this snake-looking guy, Colony Sarv, to retrieve the Doctor, which he eventually does. The Doctor and Davros have a confrontation of sorts. Clara and Missy have also been dragged into this because they don't want to leave him by himself, because they know that he's going to his death, essentially. So they accompany him in an attempt to stop that. They ultimately get killed, quote unquote. Exterminated, and leaves the Doctor in a rather precarious situation.
The TARDIS gets blown up as well.
TARDIS gets destroyed by the Daleks. Oh yes, that's the other thing. The planet that Colony Sarv brings the Doctor and Clara and Missy to is actually Skaro, which they don't realise at first because it's been cloaked. And there's loads of Daleks, like loads of different types of Daleks as well.
Classics and new, isn't it? It's real old,
And because obviously this is now a two-parter for this series, we're left on a really cool cliffhanger where Clara's just been killed. Like you say, the TARDIS has been destroyed. Davros is actually masterminding the whole thing. And that's where we're left.
Yeah, it ends with the Doctor coming back to the boy on the planet, doesn't he, with a gun and saying, I'm going to save my friends the only way I know how.
Yeah.
Exterminate, and then into the credits.
Yes.
Which, I thought was just a brilliant cliffhanger.
Yes.
I must just quickly touch before we get into saying about the episode. You know the confession dial?
Mm-hmm.
And which will only open when the Doctor dies or something. Is this going to be the arc, do you think? This whole thing about, or do you think it's just won't get mentioned again?
It could be.
The Doctor's confession. I just wonder if this is going to be this year's arc.
Yeah, it very well could be. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the confession dial. I must pick one up. So, mate, wow, it's What did you think of this episode then?
Right,
lot to talk about.
Yeah. So, I mean, generally speaking, I loved it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I thought it was a very impressive season opener. I thought it was a solid story. And I really liked, there was a couple of really good, there was a few moments in this episode where I had that kind of hands over my mouth, wide-eyed kind of thing, which hasn't really happened in Who for a little while, I'll be honest. But this one did have a few shock factors, which was really cool. There's a few things that I wasn't too enamoured for. There was a couple of character points which I wasn't overjoyed with. There was a couple of little bits, but it wasn't perfect. However, it didn't really detract too much, and overall I thought it was really good. What did you think?
Yeah, I have to say, when the credits started rolling, I just loved it. I absolutely, I haven't enjoyed an episode of Doctor Who as much as this for quite some time. I really, really enjoyed it. That's not to say there aren't a few niggles. We'll talk through it. There's a couple of bits that I thought fell a bit flat and weren't perfect, but overall I thought the episode was great. Like you said, quite a few jaw on the floor moments. I do wish the child Davros had been kept a secret, because I knew that that rumor has been floating around almost since they started production. It's such a shame, because that would have been, if I hadn't known that and that kid had said I'm Davros, I would have literally been like, no. But as soon as I saw the kid, I knew, as soon as he sort of said, what's the name of the boy that's not going to die today, and I just knew. And it's a shame, because it was still a great moment, and I thought that the beginning was really epic. I loved it, just flying across the landscape, lasers, war going on. The visuals with the hand with the eyes coming up and grabbing the guy's leg and pulling him in under the floor, and I just thought it was a really great opening. And I just wish I hadn't known that the kid was Davros. It's such a shame these things get leaked, but it was made up for the fact that we actually got to see the real Davros only a few minutes later. I mean, I was shocked by that. I didn't think we'd be seeing Julian Bleach back as Davros. So when we saw him, it was the voice, didn't we? We heard it. Mm-hmm. That shocked me. I was absolutely not screaming at the screen, but I wasn't far off. I was like, really? Oh, I was really buzzing when Davros, because I love Davros. I love the character. I think Julian Bleach is excellent as Davros as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I loved that. In fact, we got loads to scream about in the first sort of 10 minutes. We got Davros, we got Khan, the Doctor hiding on Khan, which
Yep.
was excellent. Great to see. I don't know the actress's name, but the woman, very strong character, the Khan lady.
Oh yes, yeah, the sister. Oh yeah, what was her name?
I want to say Mara, but that's not it. But yeah, she was obviously in the Night of the Doctor, wasn't she, as well? And great to see her coming back and just making a small cameo and telling old Snake Face to do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved it. And then we got the cantina scene with all the old aliens in, like the Hath and Sycorax, and who else did we spawn? Ood.
Yep.
There was
Jadoon. Yep.
So yeah, all that. Yeah, Shadow Proclamation. There was so much going on in the first 10 minutes, but Stephen Moffat does that a lot, but it doesn't always work. For me, this really worked in terms of like there was so much going on. It could have been a complete mess, but I was just enthralled by it. Like the first sort of 10 minutes, I was just absolutely enthralled by it.
Yeah.
And then we sort of, like you said, we cut to modern day Earth, and Clara's back in the classroom. And at that point, I did worry. I thought, oh no, it's not going to go downhill, is it? But actually, it didn't. Apart from some stuff we'll touch on later, but yeah, it actually didn't. And I kind of liked the idea of Clara seeing all the planes stopping and looking at the window and all that. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we'll get into some more detail. But overall, apart from a few little niggles here and there, I really enjoyed this episode. I've watched it over and over again, and I can't remember the last time there was an episode that I've wanted to watch over and over again. I really can't. I think the 11th Hour was the last one where I just literally wanted to watch it as soon as it finished. I mean, even Deep Breath, yeah, I enjoyed it. I wasn't bothered about watching it straight after or even a week later. Do you know what I mean? This one, A, I couldn't wait to see part 2, and B, I just couldn't wait to watch it again. And that hasn't happened for a long time. I was absolutely buzzing after this episode.
Yeah, I read you. Same for me. It hasn't happened in a while. So it does bombard you with a lot of stuff within the first 10 minutes. I guess.
And we've got Unit in there as well. I mean, there's all sorts going on in that beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start with Clara and Missy. Because those guys kind of kick off the modern day timeline story part of this episode, I guess, where it starts with Clara noticing that the plane is frozen in the sky, which is kind of cool. I like that concept.
Yeah, because she said something about all the fuel, didn't she? And I thought, oh yeah, that's
so
good.
It's quite cool as well that she gets all of the kids in the classroom to get their phones out, which is I thought was funny because teachers are normally confiscating phones and telling kids to put them away, but she's immediately like, everyone get your phones out, Twitter, news, whatever. So I thought that was really cool. And then she's off to Unit. So as I mentioned going through the story, I'm assuming now that Clara works for Unit.
It certainly looks like it, yeah.
Because the headmaster or another teacher comes in, says there's a phone call for you, and she thinks, and immediately she's like, her kind of teacher hat comes off, and she goes straight off to Unit.
Yeah, puts a Unit back. Yeah, exactly. Straight on the bike over to the Tower of London or whatever it is. Yeah.
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 So that part of it was quite cool. And then here's a couple of things with the whole Unit scene. What did you think to the whole Unit thing? So Clara arrives at this kind of makeshift. Is it the Tower of London she goes to actually? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tower of London. And then she kind of works out what's going on with Kate Stewart and this other Unit character, which I haven't seen before. Has she been in it before?
No, but she looks familiar. That was really bugging me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I've definitely seen her before, but I don't think she has. Or maybe she's just been in the background. I don't know.
Yeah. So that whole thing, I wasn't really that into that bit, really.
Right. I know a lot of people didn't like the bit with Mrs. Head coming out the screen. I didn't mind that personally, but I know a few people didn't like that bit.
Yeah, it was okay. It's a bit cartoony. It was all right, though. It was a bit Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it's all right. But I thought that whole thing was cool. I mean, I'm not really sure how I feel about Clara being part of Unit at the moment. I think that's a little bit... I'm not sure. It feels a little bit...
Far-fetched? Stretched too...
It doesn't seem to fit with Clara's character that we've seen so far. That's the only thing. It doesn't feel like she would naturally go and work for Unit, because if you think of everything that happened to her in Series 8, it doesn't feel like she would get into that whole thing unless it was with the Doctor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So because of losing Danny and all that stuff, you'd have thought that she just want a semi-normal life at the moment, and the only person that could really, you know, get her back into the whole adventure and, you know, travel through time and space would be the Doctor. That's just my feeling on it. But yeah, so the whole unit thing and Clara, I'm not really too sure on that bit, but I did like the concept of, you know, all hands on deck, you know, trying to figure out where this was coming from. And when they finally find where Missy is and stuff like that, that scene with Missy was just brilliant.
Yeah,
Did you like
loved
that?
it. Yes, I did. Yeah, I absolutely. I'll tell you what I loved about it is that Missy was just great at delivering the humour, but the sort of very dark humour. She did it brilliantly. And B, Clara. I love the fact that Clara was just so sort of no nonsense but calm. She wasn't cocky, like, because sometimes she's written very sort of bratty and stuff, but she just was like, you know, like when Missy says, "How's the boyfriend?" Clara's like, "Yeah, still dead. What do you want?" I loved the way the two of them sort of bounced off each other. Yeah, I really, really loved that scene. I thought it was great. So some good bits in it, some good humour in it. I mean, as well, but very dark. You know, I love Missy in that bit. Because I was worried about Missy. I liked her in Dark Water a lot, but in Death in Heaven they turned the zaniness up to 11 a bit too much for me,
Right.
and I was starting to think, oh dear. She got a bit too much for me in Death in Heaven, and I was worried because I knew she was going to be in Series 9, you know, a lot more. So I was thinking, oh, if they sort of take her down that road of being really in your face, and she is, but she didn't annoy me in this episode. I don't know. There was something more assured about her performance that I really, really enjoyed Missy in it, and particularly in that scene with Clara. I think they actually make quite a good double act.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I really liked Missy in this one. In Series 8, I wasn't really into her as much as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
Because I remember when the first episode that she popped up in, I think it was the end of Deep Breath, actually, where the character with, like, he was like an android or something, had like half metal, he had like a steampunk kind of design, half in mechanical face.
Yeah.
And he ended up in Mrs. Large Sphere, it turned out to be, didn't it?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And, you know, so when I first saw her in that minute scene that she was in at the end of Deep Breath, I thought, yeah, this is going to be amazing. She's really good. And I really like Michelle Gomez as well. She's really good. But for some reason in Series 8, I just didn't really take to her as much as I thought. Maybe that's the writing, I'm not sure. But in this one, I thought she was bang on.
Yeah.
She had that really good... And I think what it was we saw another side to her about the Doctor.
The friendship side.
The friendship side and companionship. And I don't think that we've seen that. We didn't see that at all from her in Series 8. It was all about just, you know, the typical Master, basically. It was just about, you know, trying to kill the Doctor, and that was it. Whereas on this one, there was that kind of on the cusp, sitting on the fence kind of thing, where you could see within conversation with Clara and Missy that there's obviously a lot of history that we still don't really know about between the Doctor and the Master, or Missy, which kind of came to I think that really hit everybody when Clara assumed that if the Doctor was going to send anybody, the
Confession dial.
Why can't I remember that? If he was going to send anybody the confession dial, she assumed it would be her.
Yes, I loved that bit.
And that was really cool. And the fact that it was Missy or the Master really opened up another little nugget of history there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she kind of said it like, you know, throughout time, you know, that they've been trying to kind of kill each other or stop each other, whatever. And she relates it to, you know, texting or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
And I think that's what I really liked about Missy, where you were kind of unsure. You know, you were like, is she doing this because she wants to trap the Doctor? She doesn't want anyone else to kill him because she wants to. Or does she genuinely care about him? You know, does she genuinely have this, you know, thing where they've got so much history. They've been trying, you know, back and forth for, you know, for so long. Does she genuinely care about him?
Yeah.
And he obviously does, for him or her, because he sent her the confession diary. So I really liked Missy, that whole extra element we got to her for that. And also the humour was just brilliant. Some of her lines were just so funny.
Yeah, it was brilliantly written. I have to say, you saying about the whole friendship thing as well certainly helps to make me feel more like it is the Master, because I've had a bit of trouble accepting they're the same person, and not because of the gender, but just because of the character and just the way it was done and everything, But this is, I'm definitely sort of starting to see that a bit more. And yeah, I'm definitely warming towards Missy. I think, like you said, just bringing in that element of the fact that they go back so far and they are old friends, and she sort of relates it to being, well, all friends argue, and the concept of like you said, the sort of love-hate relationship. That's what that's what we've got. It's beyond sort of human love or whatever. She sort of dismisses it, doesn't she? It's disgusting. Try and get your head around something bigger. It was a really well written scene. I thought it just gave a lot more to the character. It's so funny as well. The only thing I did think, and my partner pointed this out as well, is they're in that square surrounded by guys with guns, and she's sort of killing, when she said, no, I haven't gone good, and she starts killing them to prove she's still an evil maniac. I loved all that, but the only thing we both said, when she points to that couple walking past with the dog, we were like, well, they wouldn't be allowed. What's going on? But it's a silly, it didn't matter at all. It was a brilliant scene, and I just love the way her and Clara bounce off each other. And just jumping forward a little bit, I love the fact that we never know when Missy's going to turn. Later on in the episode, as I say, the relationship between her and Clara's brilliant. They start to become almost friendly, and then Missy will do something to make, like she starts opening the airlock or whatever, and you just never know with Missy when she's going to turn on you. And I just love that about the character. It's so unpredictable, and it gives it, gives it a real edge, because you love her, and her and Clara sort of almost start getting on later on, don't they? But then she'll do something that's just puts Clara in danger. That's what I love about it. I just thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by kind of on the fence, where it's like you're warming to her for a certain amount of time, and then, like you say, she'll do something, and you'll think, whoa, no. So that, we saw that. There was 3 key scenes really. With those two, it was in the square. Was it in Italy somewhere, or Spain or something like that?
Yeah, I was trying to work out where it was. Yeah, it looked quite Spanish, didn't it?
Yeah. So we got that whole scene where Clara first confronts her and they go through why she's there, so on. Then we have the whole thing where they turn up where the Doctor actually is, which is in Essex, funnily enough. I think it's, when is it? It's hundreds of years ago.
Did you have an issue with the way they did that? They sort of traced the Doctor at UNIT and found the place where he was having the most. That. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, and then that scene was quite cool as well when they're looking down on the Doctor when he makes his grand entrance, which we'll come on to. They're kind of okay together there as well, and also when the Doctor gets confronted, and they're kind of united in wanting to back the Doctor up. Yeah. They're not going to let him go anywhere by himself. And then the scenes towards the end when they're on Skaro, when they're supposedly locked up in space, and it turns out that, they step out into space after she's opened the airlock and stuff like that.
Gravity.
That's all cool. And then when they get confronted by the Daleks as well, they still are to an extent, but then Missy, like you say, she just turns, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Towards the end.
You just can't trust her.
No.
Yeah. But I love that, because she's obviously so much fun to be around. But you just can't. You never know when she's going to stab you in the back. Yeah. I love the bit with the airlock, where she's like, "Come on, Clara, let's go out." With a bang. She's like Clara thinks they're going to get sucked into the void, and that whole bit was just so brilliantly done. And and then they walk out, and obviously it reveals to be Skaro. And I think they must have cut a scene, actually. I didn't notice it, but my other half did, that Clara's got her hand still tied when she walks out. And then in the next shot, she starts around with her arms in the air. So they must have cut a bit where Missy releases her.
Oh, right.
And then obviously, Skaro's revealed. And it looks good. I love the fact they've kept the classic design sort of to it. Looks really, really nice.
Yeah.
I even I love the Dalek coming up behind the rock as well. So even though there is a fan version that's they've actually done it 10 times better as usual. I love the fact that we got a classic Dalek coming out of them. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, that was one of the shock moments for me when Missy and Clara are out in space, and then the ground starts to appear, and then some buildings in the distance start to appear, and then the planet reveals itself slowly, and Missy immediately knows where they are.
Why doesn't Clara know though? Because Clara's been through the Doctor's timeline. Why does she not know Skaro? Or is it because it's not that Clara? I've got a bit confused with that whole thing.
That's because it's not time stream Clara.
No, it's not. Is
Yeah.
it? No, because I was thinking she should know Skaro,
Yeah.
shouldn't she? Yeah. Okay. I still get muddled with that whole thing.
Yeah, but yeah, effectively she's that was a different Clara.
Okay.
Essentially, but yeah, that whole thing where Skaro and the music as well, Murray Gold,
Oh,
his
yes.
music was brilliant, and then as that whole thing reveals and you know that you're on Skaro, that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, beep. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those
Yeah.
like, whoa. So that was very cool, and there was quite a lot really with Clara and Missy. That was very cool.
So let's go back to that Doctor thing then, because that's sort of near where we were sort of talking about the finding the Doctor, and he's in Essex and all that.
Yes.
Did that? I mean, I don't. It's a bit silly, but I kind of see it that it's just moving the story forward. So I don't really have a big issue with it. But yeah, I was a bit unsure about that.
Yeah, I wasn't really like I said earlier, I wasn't really a fan of the whole unit thing and how Clara turns up, and they didn't really use Kate Stewart very well.
No, she's a
either.
bit cardboard, wasn't she? She didn't really.
Yeah,
She wasn't really giving it anything. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought that.
yeah, she was normally pretty good. So they kind of underused her a little bit. But the whole unit thing, I just thought it was a bit wishy-washy. It was a bit, it was kind of back and forth. it was like, right, we need to find out what's going on.
Yeah, I
Somebody-
think it's just. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to find out what's going on. And then somebody from unit, I have to track down that character name. Was it, what's her name? Jack?
Jack.
Jackie? Jack?
Don't know. I wouldn't know if you said it, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Clara says we need to track down we need to find out what's going on. Somebody from unit just taps away on a keyboard for 10 seconds. Oh, this is what's happening. Okay, we need to track down the Doctor. Some more tapping on a keyboard somewhere. Yep, this is what's happening. And then Missy kind of gets in contact and they do all that stuff. And then Clara does it as well. She's like, right, let's change the algorithm to this. Somebody does some tapping. Oh, there he is.
It's like if he's that easy to find. I mean, they normally struggle to find the Doctor, don't they? They've even got his own private phone line that he never uses and stuff. But if it's that easy, yeah, I know. I agree. It was a bit wishy-washy, but I just see it as a plot device to move the story along, really. But yeah, I agree with you a bit on that. I have to say, this does bring us to the point where this is one of my few niggles with the episode. This is kind of where the episode gets brought down just slightly for me when we get to Essex and the Doctor arrives, makes his grand entrance on the tank with the guitar. Now I think when this was on the script, you can imagine Stephen Moffat visualizing this. I can see how he imagined this to be, and I don't know if it's down to the direction or the editing or what, but I don't have a problem with the Doctor arriving on the tank. I don't have a problem with the Doctor playing the guitar. I actually thought it was quite a funny, nice scene. Because the Doctor thinks he's going to die. He's just, because a lot of people have been saying he's out of character and blah blah. I think that's the whole point. The Doctor's just throwing himself a party. He's not acting like he normally would. So I don't have a problem with it. What I did have a problem with was the scene. It just went on way too long, and the humour in it was falling really flat. I mean, like the Doctor with the whole dude thing and I don't know, playing the pre. It just seemed like it could have been a great entrance for the Doctor, because obviously he's been hiding up until this point. So the Doctor's back on screen, yeah, great. And I found the guitar a bit funny, but there was too much of it. Like it needed editing down for me. I was just kind of thinking, like even when he's playing Pretty Woman and stuff. I love the fact Missy does that strange head shake when she walks in, just brilliant. But yeah, that whole scene for me just went on too long, and the humour wasn't funny. It dragged the episode down. It slowed it down. I wanted it to just, because you knew that he was going to go off to Sky. I just wanted it to get on with it rather than him doing all the jokes and the thing about I ordered this online. I thought it was a fish tank, and It didn't. I didn't find it funny. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is going to kill it in 100 years." It's like, oh, that brought the episode down a bit for me. I just wanted him to get on with the story.
Yes. Yeah. I've got that written down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole scene, I did like it. I thought it was quite cool, but I totally agree with you. I think it went on for just too long.
It did. Yeah.
And I think that was one of the problems that I had with Deep Breath as well, where when we first found the Doctor, when he was regurgitated, by the dinosaur, or the TARDIS was, whatever, and the Doctor's really disorientated, it took flipping ages for him to kind of finally get himself, to the point where he remembers who he is, he knows what he needs to do and stuff. It was like literally most of that episode. And the same thing happened here where, we know who the Doctor is. We know what's happening in the storyline up to this point. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's Moffat. And I think that's one of his downfalls, is that he likes to cling on to those moments for a bit too long.
Yeah.
And I get the whole thing about Capaldi being such a great Doctor, and he is a great Doctor. We want to see as much character stuff as we can out of him. But I think, what would have been cool would be when he arrives on the tank and plays a little bit of guitar, they could have cut straight away to Missy and Clara running out to him.
Yeah.
And then Colony Sarf turning up and stuff. So, you're right. You're absolutely right. They could have edited that whole scene down, and the humour as well. It was okay, but the problem what we've got is because Missy was so funny in the previous scenes to that, these scenes pale in comparison because
absolutely
because it's not meant to be. Missy is meant to be comedy and humour for the large part, whereas the Doctor isn't. He's meant to. I think he's meant to come across as quite funny to an extent, but when you compare it to the scenes we've just had with Missy where she's really funny, it's just it can't compete.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
yeah.
There's a couple of other strange things going on in that scene as well, because obviously Colonel Sarf, I can't say his name, he's obviously trying to find the Doctor and go to great lengths to find him, and then there's a guy that has the funny Dalek eye in his head who's already there. So so if the Daleks already know he's there, what's going on with that guy? I didn't get that. He reveals the TARDIS. The TARDIS is located, or has he come with Colonel Sarf? Or
no, that's
what's going on there?
That guy, we're going to see more of him.
Oh right, okay.
I think anyway. I'm not sure if you've seen it. There was a video that went out. A week ago, it popped up on YouTube again, and it was called The Doctor's Meditation.
Oh yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yep. And he's in that, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of befriended the Doctor, and I'm not sure if that's going to pop up later on in the series. That's a bit of a plot thing with the Daleks, that maybe he's been planted there on purpose.
Right. Okay.
Or something, but.
The other thing is, though, I don't know if you noticed this, and again, it's because I watched the episode a few times. When we're seeing him, he sort of opens a trunk and then pulls the curtain back to TARDIS. That's shot as if someone's watching him from around a corner, so it's shot from someone's point of view. And I don't know why, because I'm thinking, well, who's watching him? It doesn't go back to it. I don't know whether it will later on. Like you said, I don't know if that's going to be something that's explained later. But if you watch this episode again, it may just be the way it's shot, but it's sort of shot from a point of view. It's as if someone's watching him, because the camera keeps sort of almost hiding behind the wall.
Right, I read you. Yeah.
So I just find that whole bit a bit strange. Yeah.
Maybe they are going to investigate that a bit more.
Yeah.
Coming up,
yeah.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that's the last we've seen of that character. I think his name's Bors.
Right. Yeah.
Bors, Bors. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, but I'm not sure why he's a Dalek at this point. I don't think we know. So it must be. Well, I say it must be. This is Stephen Moffat we're talking about. So I'm guessing that it's likely to be answered in a future episode.
I hope so. Yeah, because I did find it a bit odd.
Yeah, but the chemistry between him and the Doctor was quite cool.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. They've got like an old mates kind of thing going on, which is quite good.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, it's an okay scene. Like, it just needed to be tightened up, and thankfully, once we get out of that, the episode really picks up again. I think we've got some, like you said, a lot more sort of gasp moments after this, because obviously the Doctor then gets taken to Skaro. Actually, I was going to say, how do you say it, guy's name? Colonel Sarf.
Colony Sarf.
Colony Sarf. I do like the effect when his face twisted and he turned into the snake. It was a nice, because I mean, he's a gruesome looking chap and he looks kind of like he's been run over and got tire marks across his face. But that was quite a nice effect. I didn't see it coming either. You know, when they all started turning and then they were snakes. I thought, oh, that's quite interesting. I don't know why he turns into a big snake though, but I like the way they did it. That his face turned into it.
Yeah, it's cool. And I was going to mention him before we got onto the scenes about Davros, but he's the way that they did him moving as well. You know, he's got that kind of.
So roller skates.
I don't know. I think it might have been this cool kind of.
It is cool.
Like one of these new kind of roller hoverboard type things.
Yeah.
Which look quite cool. But yeah, it's. I thought he was quite a cool character. He was quite menacing because he's got this whispery kind of voice, hasn't he? And the whole giant snake thing. But yeah, I thought he was quite cool. I'm not sure what purpose he's going to serve from here on in, because he looks like he's just I don't know, just like Davros's sort of servant at the moment.
Yeah, so I like the look of him. I like the design of him. Yeah, he did, like you said, he wasn't given a great deal to do other than say, "Where is the Doctor?" and Davros remembers, you know, and all that. But I do like the look. Yeah, I like the sort of design of him and what he sort of is, if you like, turns into. Yeah.
Yeah, he's quite cool.
I want to see a bit more of him. Would be cool.
I thought the scene near the beginning, like the whole Star Wars Cantina band type thing, I thought he was quite good in that, where everyone just shuts up when he starts talking. He's obviously got a reputation about him. Yes, yeah. Or maybe not him specifically, but his race of whatever he is, snake people. That, you know, they've obviously got a a reputation, because as soon as he wanders in, everyone, you know, goes silent and nobody wants to talk.
Yeah, so everywhere the heads are down, aren't they? So, oh, look out. Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, I didn't realise that was Dorian's bar either. Someone pointed out to me. I must have just missed that on a first watch. You know, remember Blue Dorian? Big Blue Dorian.
Oh, him, yeah.
Head in the box, upside down. Yeah, someone pointed out that's his bar, which just went over my head at the time. I think I was just too busy thinking, there's a half, there's a ood. So, yeah, I kind of missed that. But, yeah. Yeah, I like the character. So I think we should see a bit more of him. He should be given a bit more to do, I think is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, he's quite menacing. So then we get to Skaro itself, don't we? Well, we find out it's Skaro.
Yeah.
Once Missy reveals it. See, I kind of like that as well. I like the fact that the Doctor and Missy are on. They got the same. They're thinking along the same lines. Like the Doctor says to her, "Gravity," and she's like, "I know." As if I've already figured it out. Yeah. I like the fact that Clara hasn't got a clue what's going on. But yeah, I liked all that, and obviously, you know, getting to see Capaldi's Doctor face to face with the actual Davros. You know, not Kid Davros. All this speculation about what was going to happen, you know, with this kid and stuff. But no, the actual Davros. Just great. I loved it, and I the whole time I was watching it, I was on edge the first time, thinking, please don't mess this up. Like have a decent scene between the two, because this obviously ties in a bit with Genesis the Daleks, and one of the best scenes for me, and that is that bit where the Doctor's just sat talking with Davros, and you can see they're equally intelligent, and I like that, and I was hoping we'd get a bit of that in this episode, and we did. There's a bit of humour thrown in, which again it kind of works, but I was like, no, just, you know, Davros is intelligent, you're intelligent, Doctor, just, you know, make this a good scene between the two of them. And I think they did. It perhaps that wasn't quite how I envisaged it, but it was still really great. I just loved seeing Capaldi's Doctor with Davros, and, you know, just obviously seeing the old clips played in as well was brilliant.
Yes, very, very cool. And one of the things that, again, that was the other shock moment for me. Was seeing, like you say, the proper Davros. But the thing that made it really, really cool was the room that he's in had all these like hanging cables and pipes and stuff. And as the camera kind of moved round, you don't see him properly. All you see is, like, you know, he's kind of obscured a little bit by all these cables and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so well done. that whole scene was, it was so good. And Julian Bleach just played that like 100% spot on. Because, you know, in like a lot of previous stories, Davros can be quite, this is kind of weird to say, because even though like he's only got one functional arm, and he's you know, inside like the lower half of a Dalek tank, he still can be quite animated in his performance and stuff. Whereas this one was completely the opposite, where he's just resting his head on his hand the whole time, and he doesn't even look up at the Doctor, does he? He's just he's kind of facing down at the floor, and he's got this really laboured, you know, way about him, and it was just so creepy. And I love the way that's probably one of the best things about the episode for me, was that initial conversation when we first see Davros, and then the whole thing about where Davros plays in the previous clips.
Yeah.
And then especially the bit with Tom Baker's Doctor, you know, from Genesis.
Yeah.
You know, that was just, it was the way that actually, to give Moffat his, you know, some credit there, the way that he's linked to those you know, classic Who scenes into the story is pretty well done.
Yeah, I loved it.
You know, it's very well done. And I think that was the key moment as well, where we've seen somebody like David Tennant's Doctor and Colin Baker. We saw those little clips, and one of your favourites, the Sylvester
Unlimited
McCoy.
rice pudding.
Unlimited rice pudding.
I love that line. I was so pleased that was in there.
That's one of your favourites.
I do love it.
So those were cool. But then it was the Tom Baker scene, really, you know, and his actual line about, you know, if you were, it was something like, if you were to come in contact with a child who you knew would grow up and, you know, slaughter millions of people, sort of thing. It was so key and relevant to this Doctor's predicament, because that's what he did.
Yeah,
essentially,
exactly.
You know, he's, you know, that quote from the Tom Baker's Doctor is exactly why the Doctor is here now. And I loved that, just that whole thing. That would have been enough for me. You know, if this episode was just 15 minutes long and it was just that, I would have been blown away. It'd be awesome. But so what did you think to Julian Bleach's performance and as Davros?
Superb. Yeah, I loved it. Like you said, a very, very underplayed, subtle performance. Yeah, he's just playing it. You know, obviously Davros is dying. Like you said, he's kind of like, almost like you sort of feel sorry for him, and just slumped in his chair, you know, head on his arm, could barely lift his head up, and yeah, lovely. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and
sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say something about the kid, but I've forgotten what it was.
While you were thinking of that, I just wanted to say that, like I mentioned, where sometimes Davros can be really animated. Like if we think back to The End of Time, I might have got that wrong. The David Tennant finale.
Oh yes, yeah, Journey's End.
Journey's End, sorry. Yeah, where Davros is absolutely screaming and shouting at him.
I name you.
Yeah, you know, all that stuff. I found him more menacing and more of a threat in his performance in this one, where he's obviously got this big plan together, how he's going to, you know, enact his revenge on the Doctor. But, you know, this point where he's saying to the Doctor, like, you know, I remember, you know, all that kind of stuff.
But he's got the Doctor's Sonic, isn't he, as well? He gets the sort of burnt out old Sonic out.
Yep. And the bit where the Doctor thinks that the Daleks are about to kill Missy and Clara. Davros is still just there speaking very quietly. He doesn't get worked up. He doesn't get emotional about anything. He's just cold.
Yeah, well, he says, doesn't he? I don't control them. He's like, they're my kids. You can't control your children. Yeah. I love that. So it's like Davros has accepted his sort of just, you know, getting old. He's just like, I don't tell them what to do. They don't listen to me. And it was like, oh, wow, you know, hearing Davros say this is just, it's chilling. And I think I remember what I was going to say. It was the Doctor makes a remark earlier, doesn't he? You saying about, you know, him meeting him as a kid and that. The Doctor actually says, well, who created Davros? You know, and that kind of ties in with it as well. Yeah. But the bit where you're saying about where they're going to exterminate Clara and Missy is quite important, because one of the criticisms about Dalek stories of the new series is that they're not scary anymore. That they just kind of trot them out and look, it's the Daleks. And again, this comes back to the way they did it. It was so subtle. Like when Clara's just looking, thinking, should I run? And they're almost like a pack of wolves, just slightly moving.
Right.
And then she runs and they go for it, don't they? And they have managed to make the Daleks scary again in a very subtle way, by just, reining it back in a bit and just making them just pure evil. And I loved that. I thought, yes, they are using the Daleks in a good way again. It's just the way they did it was brilliant. Because I was like, I don't know, it's just the way the whole scene was brilliant. She was like looking, am I going to run? Yeah, I'm going to run. Oh, and then they went for her. It was great. I really liked the way they did it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that's what I was going to come on to with the Daleks and stuff. It's kind of cool that I think you mentioned that Davros has just accepted his position within the Dalek race, because for a long time before, he's wanted to be like the leader of the Daleks, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how he's viewed himself, as the creator. He also views himself as the leader, or the commander, if you like. And that's never really worked out that well for him, really. So it's kind of interesting to see now that he knows he's about to pop it, he's kind of just accepted, like, I might have created them, but I can't control them. I think he says, like, as all children, so that I found that really, really cool. And, but the Daleks do have a hierarchy still.
Oh yeah.
That whole scene where Missy and Clara are in that room with the TARDIS, and there's like 50 different Daleks in there. There is still the what do they?
The Supreme
Dalek.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite cool, because it's not just chaos where there's just millions of, variants of Daleks running around, trying to, outdo one another. So there is still a hierarchy there, which I found quite cool, because there was a bit, wasn't there, when Missy says, like, you're going to have to kill me. And all of them turn and face that one Supreme Dalek. And then literally without, a split second, she's gone.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. And there was well, did you think this was just a bit of fan service, having all these different Daleks? Or did you think there was a point to having all, like, the classic ones? And
Well, do you know what? I think it's a bit of fan service, but actually I don't care, because I just love it. Because this is one of the points I was going to make, actually. Why are the classic Daleks there with the modern day? I don't know. We may get an explanation in part 2, but yeah, I don't really care. I just love seeing them all together. I kind of can overlook it. But I probably think it is a bit of fan service. Yeah. What about you? Does it bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me at all, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
I want to know why there are many generations and different versions of Daleks there. Because obviously they've been, you have to go across, a huge timeline, to find that particular design of Dalek. And then you have to go again and fight. So I'm interested to find out why they're all together.
Yeah.
All those different variants of Dalek, which I'm hoping we'll find out.
I'd like to know why we're back on Skaro as well. Why are they all back on Skaro with Davros?
Yes.
We don't know how long they've been there. Like you said, that to have all those Daleks together, you're crossing a lot of time streams, and I'd like to get a bit of an explanation.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, it'll niggle me, just like we haven't got an explanation for why we didn't get regeneration from Sim to Missy, from the Master to Missy. So it'll niggle me in that sense, but it won't bother me too much. But I would like to know a few more answers of what's going on there. Yeah,
I did have a little whoa, like when we saw the very first Dalek outside to come up behind them, the really old Hartnell, blue and silver one.
Silver.
Yeah, I did think, like, whoa, this is crazy, but
I loved it.
Yeah. So the whole Dalek thing was very cool, and it's kind of it's kind of interesting that they've kicked off the story with the Daleks as well. Because I think actually every series of Doctor Who since 2005, I don't remember a series opener with a Dalek story.
Well, no, there was Asylum of the Daleks. That was an opener, wasn't it? Or was that part 2 or something? Asylum of the Daleks, the Matt Smith
Matt
one?
Smith, yeah. But
Or was that part 2 of Series 7? Again, I can't remember now.
yeah, but
Oh no, because it had Clara in, so it must have been. Yeah.
oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So with the exception of that, because normally with all the series openers, it's quite they don't really throw them at you this early. They like to kind of build the series up a little bit, and you think, well, the Daleks have got to appear at some point. But this one, it was just full on.
Yeah,
You know,
and,
so- yeah,
and I think that's what some of the people, you know, that were saying, "Oh, I'm not." Oh, before it aired, I mean, some of the people were saying like, "Oh no, the Daleks again! Oh, in the opener, oh, how boring!" But I think hopefully, like us, when they watched it, they were thinking, "Oh, actually, that was really good," because they are there for a reason. I mean, it totally ties in with the whole Davros, and I just love the fact that Davros is back on Skaro with the Daleks. Just like it's almost like he's in the little annex at the side of the, you know what I mean? It does, you know, I love the picture that they painted, that the Daleks are all doing their thing. They've got Daddy Davros in the annex out at the side. You know, it's just, I love it. I love the whole way it's done. So
yeah,
I was a bit the same. I was thinking, oh, Daleks again, but I really liked what they did with it.
yeah. And it's quite cool how they've visited Skaro actually, because we see it right at the very beginning. So when that soldier chases Davros down to try and help him, you know, we didn't know at that point that was Skaro,
No, that's true.
which
yeah.
is very cool. So it actually plays quite a big part in the episode, and I'm guessing that those soldiers that we see, they would be Khaleds.
Well, that's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
Because that would be before, obviously, you know, it wouldn't be until Davros is, you know, much older.
Be way before. But then again, the Carlos were a peaceful race, weren't they? I don't know. I mean, I assumed that, but I'm not. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the Daleks. Like, it's been a while. It's been a while since it's tuned into that. But yeah, I seem to remember. Aren't they? They're against fighting, aren't they? I don't. But we don't know what's happened, do we? Maybe this is, like you said, this is obviously way before that because Davros is a kid, so we don't know what's going on, do we? But
So it's interesting. Yeah.
Talking to timelines, how does it? Because this is the other thing. I mean, I'm going to overlook this because I enjoyed it so much. But how does this tie in with the fact? So, again, this is Stephen Moffat being very timey-wimey. So the Doctor has met Davros in his 12th regeneration, but Davros is a kid. So Davros remembers, but has. So what I'm saying is, if we're watching Genesis of the Daleks, we are assuming that Davros has met the Doctor at that point. But then again, I suppose he was a kid, so you can overlook the fact that he wouldn't really remember. I don't know. But the fact he's still got the Sonic, so are we saying that Davros has got the Sonic in Genesis of the Daleks? That's the only thing.
Well, let's make sure we're getting this right, because when the Doctor first shows up, when Davros is trapped around those hands that are coming out of the ground, he can't actually see the Doctor for a start.
True.
And the Doctor doesn't reveal himself as the Doctor.
That's true.
So Davros doesn't know who, because it's all quite misty and stuff, isn't it? Because Davros is looking around, and the Doctor says the only way he can hear him is by an acoustic corridor, or an audible corridor which is why he threw the Sonic to him so he can hear him.
Right.
So the Doctor's really far away, and it's really foggy and stuff. So at that point, I don't think Davros knows it's the Doctor. I think the only way that he knows later on, it's the Doctor, because he's got his Sonic.
Right, yeah.
And he wouldn't know about the Doctor's Sonic screwdriver until... well,
that Sonic he would have not... I don't know.
Yeah, that particular Sonic. Well...
Matt Smith didn't meet Davros, did he?
No. It was only Tennant from the newer Doctors, but before that it would have been McCoy, Tom Baker and Colin Baker, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah, because we see Colin on screen, don't we? So, yeah.
So it is a little bit timey-wimey. It is a little bit. Yeah. But, like you say, you can write it off a little bit, I suppose, because he was so young. And the Doctor doesn't reveal himself at that point to be... I don't know.
But is the Doctor going to be Sonicless now? What do you reckon? Because he seems to have abandoned the Sonic.
Yeah. Because, well, he gave it to Davros, didn't he?
He gave it to Davros. So does that mean he's not going to have a Sonic anymore?
I think he will. I think he will have his own one. I do believe.
Yeah.
Well, he should do.
I'm guessing the manufacturers of the TV remotes are hoping he does.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to get out of business otherwise.
Yeah.
But no, I think he will at some point.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
hoping
so.
anyway. Wow. Okay. Before we move on to our review, what did you think overall to because a lot of comments that I've seen, unless there's anything else you wanted to mention about this.
No, I think we've covered it.
A lot of comments that I've seen about this is that it's got a very high barrier to entry for people who don't know a lot about Doctor Who and haven't watched it up to this point. And it was paying a lot of fan service is what I've read, because they've put so much in it, like with the Cantina Band thing at the beginning, and not really any story set up, because even like the opening scene, unless you know who Davros is, you don't really get the shock factor.
Yeah.
So what do you think to that? I mean, I might have my thoughts on it, but what do you reckon?
Well, I was saying about this earlier, wasn't I? That's the only thing. I know a lot of people have said that, but yeah, I do see it. I agree, but I don't really care, because I think, as I say, you're either Doctor Who's been on TV for 10 years now. If you're not invested in it by now, then how you can't always think, I can't put that in because somebody new might be watching or whatever. I think it's after 10 years, I think we can start to indulge a bit, is what I'm saying. I think it's fine to start, giving the fans a bit more of what he thinks they want. And for me, this definitely gave me what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I think after 10 years, I agree. If you were a casual viewer, you might sit there and think, what on earth is going on? Who's that prune in the chair? I can totally see that. But I think after 10 years, I think Stephen Moffat is allowed to loosen the reins and give a bit of fan service. Yeah. So I'm totally fine with it.
Cool. Okay. My two thoughts on that is, the first one is that if you don't know what's going on, that's more of more encouragement to go back and check out Doctor Who.
Good shout, yeah.
Which is cool. And secondly, I totally agree. It's been on long enough now for people because it's not like if you look at any other program, like a real popular TV show that's been on for a number of years now, they don't do that. They just pick up the story where they left off before without any explanation.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it's up to you, if you like the show, to go back and check out, the origins and stuff. It's slightly different with Doctor Who, because if you can probably gauge a lot of what's going on from series 1 in 2005. You can probably gauge a lot if you watched it from there, but it is slightly different with Doctor Who because there's so much to go back to.
Yeah.
In terms of the classic stuff. However, I think it's been on long enough now, like you say, that they should just do it. I mean, there's loads of like The Big Bang Theory, a lot of American shows like Supernatural, Sons of Anarchy, loads of programs like that. If you watch episode 1 from something like their series 3 or series 4 or something like that, you have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So it shouldn't be any different for Doctor Who.
No, and I think it's about time we got sort of into a bit more of the sort of history of it and stuff like this. I'm perfectly happy with it. Yeah.
Scores, my good man. Who's going to go first?
You. I think it's you this week to go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rightio. I will give this a 9.
Snap.
Oh, snap as well.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go 9.5 for some reason. I thought you were right on the perfect, almost perfect line.
No, I was absolutely. It's very rare that I finish watching an episode and are sort of so decisive. Normally, I'm like, oh, is it? With this, I literally wrote it straight down. I finished watching it, loved it. That is a 9 out of 10 for me. So only the scene with the Doctor in the middle that lets it down for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Loved it. 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Yeah, I pretty much loved it as well. There was a couple of things that I wasn't too crazy about. The unit stuff, I wasn't too, really into that. And I wasn't into some of the Clara character stuff. But yeah, it was mainly. I mean, once we got into it, she was okay. But for the first bit, I didn't really see. I couldn't really see how her character would be into things like unit and all that stuff.
It's funny though, because talking to Clara, because I'm a bit hit and miss with Clara. It's more the way she's written. They're so inconsistent with her character, but she was in danger of getting lost in this episode, I think, because of Missy, and I think Missy really almost stole the show. But thankfully, with Davros and that, the Doctor sort of still shone. But Clara was in danger of getting lost a bit. But I actually really liked her in this because I think I liked her and Missy together. But I like this more calmer Clara, more in control Clara. I hope we get to see a bit more of that. I liked it, but I think it might have been just because I liked her and Missy together.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought, that's the other big plus I've got about this episode is I thought everybody in it was great. Well, was amazing. Actually, not great. They were amazing. I thought Misty was great. I thought Clara was good. Peter Capaldi was consistently good, apart from the humor, but that's the writing. Julian Bleach was great as Davros. There's really, there's a lot of strong stuff going on in this episode for an opener. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, maybe not so much. I mean, for me, it was just Clara. I just didn't match up her character up to this point to what she was doing now, but sort of halfway through the episode, she did. She did cool. The
thing is with Clara is they seem to just sort of give her stuff to do which fits the story. So it's almost as if each week she's kind of just written towards a story rather than being her own character, isn't it? That's what I find.
Yeah.
Like they don't seem to have actually found her character. They just, whatever story she's in, they just write her for that story rather than actually writing her character the same each week. That's what I find. But yeah, so I kind of get where you're coming from on that.
Cool. Okay.
Right.
We had some really, you guys went to town this week.
Oh, wow, did they?
Holy moly. We also asked you to send in some audio or video reviews as well, which some of you did. So thank you very much. We got a few of those to play. In fact, let's kick off with one of those.
Yeah, let's hear one.
Yes. So first one is from Jay Kent.
Hello, Gary and Adam. It's me, Jay. How you doing? Doing well. That's good. Now, this episode was a fantastic series opener, and the last time we've had an opener this big and this epic was Series 6, but we all know how that one turned out. But, less said about that, the better. Anyway, the episode itself was absolutely gorgeous. A strong 1,000,000,005 out of 10. Now, I've got my notes here. Missy really felt like the Master. She really came into her own with all the pointless killing and all the Scottishness and the let's send a goodbye selfie to your kids. It was absolutely brilliant. Even if people don't respect her as the Master at this point, should at least respect her as, a respectable villain, The design of Skaro was on point. They kept the classical look used in the Daleks, but with a modern twist, because obviously now they have a budget more than a few cardboard cutouts of some doors, which was brilliant. Colony, what's his name? Sarif, Colony Snake Man, Colony Nagini. Excellent design, and actually really creeped me out for someone who isn't disturbed by snakes at all. And that just when he came undone, brilliant, on fleek. And I don't know, but in my notes I've just put Davros is beautiful. Now, if that's just me confessing my love for Davros, or I don't know what that is. And the only nitpicks, this shows how great it was. The only nitpicks was the Doctor's costume. I just didn't like it as a fashion expert myself. Planes, I don't really think they fly that low to cast shadows. And the person at unit when says, "Pardon my Skyfi, but this might be not human technology." It's like, you work at unit, love. Are you actually surprised by this? But if they're my only nitpicks, then overall, it's a great episode. Fantastic. Can't wait for part 2. I'm on the edge of my metaphorical seat. Okay, have a nice rest of the show. Nice. Ta-ra. That's this message done.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
I must admit, I fell about laughing a few times when I listened to your message first time round.
Love it.
And you make a very good point. In fact, you make 2 very good points. The first one is the woman at unit, who I can't remember her blimmin' name. He makes a very good point that the line that she says, "Excuse my sci-fi, but this doesn't look like human technology." It's like, he's completely right. It's like, well, you do realise where you work.
Yes, right. That's a good point.
The whole point of UNIT, is to protect the Earth from alien whatever. So that was kind of obvious. So, and the other one was, the planes. Planes don't fly that low that they cast that exact shadow of a plane on the ground, do they?
No, that's true.
I kind of get it for visual reasons, but yeah. Thank you very much, Jay. That was awesome.
Yeah, some good points there, mate. I must admit I hadn't really clocked either of those, but he makes some very valid points, that lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start reading out a few from Facebook.
Okay.
Because we had a couple of posts that went out, and you guys just went nuts on both of them. So, first of all, Callum Johnston. He says, I thought it was amazing. One of Moffat's best. I love every classic reference, and the scene with the Doctor and the tank stole the whole thing for me. I love the return of Davros and all the planets like Skaro and Khan. I also love the hidden Ood and return of the Shadow Proclamation. Everyone did a great job with effects and acting. He gives it a 9 as well.
Cool.
Alex Kingdom. Fantastic. Capaldi at his best. The Master is brilliant with Clara. Davros returns, and Julian Bleach is amazing in the role. The best thing about this episode is the Daleks, and didn't even hesitate to exterminate Clara and the Master. This episode was very funny for a dark story with Capaldi, with a guitar. Missy was really funny, but the cliffhanger was exceptional, with the Doctor just saying exterminate. Overall 9.5 and unlimited rice pudding.
Yay!
Yay! Loopyland, Lou.
Hello.
I couldn't help but feel disappointed because of Moffat's convoluted nonsense.
Oh no.
He's better off on Sherlock. Leave Doctor Who for someone who cares about it and the fans. Someone like Russell T Davies who can write for women far better than Moffat ever could. Mrs. innuendos were completely unnecessary, and the pointless darting around to different locations in the beginning could have been cut out. I can only hope that Moffat got a load of this crap out of his system, and the rest of the series will be more about good stories. 2 out of 10.
Oh dear, Lou.
Lou.
Wow.
Lou's not feeling it.
I forgot about the innuendo, like when Missy says the dog's doodahs and grabs the Daleks. Yeah, I was a bit like, oh, that's so Moffat.
Yeah. Let's do another audio review. This is Matt from Who Addicts.
Hey guys, it's Matt here from Who Addicts Reviews. Just want to say how much of a great job you're both doing on the podcast. Please keep it up. So yeah, The Magician's Apprentice I actually really liked. I'm surprised with the mixed reaction it's got off quite a few fans, to be honest, because I think it was a great opener and it left us with a lot of questions and a great cliffhanger. So yeah, Missy I think was a standout performer for me. I really enjoyed her. She was a much vast improvement on Series 8. She was better as an ally, and I think she was much more unpredictable in this. She kept me on edge in every scene she was in, so I thought she was great, apart from a few little bits of flirty dialogue that irritate me still. Clara got lost in this story a bit, so I hope she has a bit more to do next week. 12 was awesome, as always, apart from his entrance. I did not like the on top of a tank air guitar thing. I thought it was out of character, cringy, it wasted time, it didn't go anywhere, so yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. As I wasn't with the whole Doctor's death, Last Willing Testament, that didn't go anywhere either. It might next week, but it just seemed to waste time and slow down the episode. Seeing Davros was great. Obviously, we knew the kid would be Davros, but I never expected to see Julian Bleach as Davros. He was great. I cannot wait to see more of him. And the Daleks were incredible too. I loved seeing them just exterminate Missy and Clara with no hesitation. They were cracking. I really do hope Moffat's going to keep it up. Of course, the cliffhanger was awesome too. We know Missy and Clara survive, but yeah, seeing what the Doctor's going to do with Davros, I honestly don't know what he's going to do. It's one hell of a cliffhanger. So yeah, it left us with a lot of unanswered questions, which I hope are answered next week. But for an opener and a build-up, I thought it was great. Apart from a few minor niggles, I'm going to give The Magician's Apprentice 8.5 out of 10.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Yeah, made some good points there.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words as well. Right, moving on to Facebook, Joe Sweeney. I watched for the first time last night on BBC iPlayer. It was very good, but there are a few negatives. The Master Missy did annoy me a little bit, even though I liked her in the series finale. I didn't like the ending much when the Daleks shot Clara and the Master, even though I know for a fact they aren't dead at all, especially in the first episode of the new series. I mean, come on, Moffat. So that scene was very pointless. But on the more positive side, great to see Davros on our screens again after 7 years since we last saw him on Journey's End. Capaldi was brilliant once again. Loved the entrance with the electric guitar. Overall, the episode was very good, but not brilliant. It's better than Death in Heaven, so I'll give the episode a reasonable 7.5.
Okay, more of a mix, yeah.
Jackson Castillo. I enjoyed the episode. I think and hope that when the story is complete with the second part, I'll be able to enjoy it even more. I actually quite liked Missy in this, although she does need to start being referred to as the Master more. And one or two of her jokes can just be a bit over the top. I hope we find out why we have all the different kinds of Daleks, but that's doubtful. I don't like how Clara was suddenly working with the Master without much confrontation, even though she'd just seen her kill people just a while before. On its own, I would give this an 8.5, but I really can't rate it properly until the second part airs.
Fair enough.
Nick English. The episode had me hooked from the start. It was brilliant. I believe it is one of the best series openers in a long time. Michelle Gomez's performance was incredible. I'm really looking forward to next week. Whogasm all the way. Whogasm all the way. Right, I read you. I was totally entertained. I don't like rating until I know the end of the second parter, but right now I'm hovering around 9 out of 10.
Oh, good.
Jeff Waddle.
Jeff. He's a model.
Just 2 words from Jeff. Completely underwhelmed.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, not a fan, Jeff.
No, he wasn't impressed.
Yep. Devin Baker. Great, but had some odd and unnecessary, in brackets, guitar scene parts, but overall, 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stick in another audio clip. This is from our good friend Cousins 2019.
Hello, the Big Blue Box podcast. This is my review of The Magician's Apprentice, the long-awaited episode. I loved it. Showing Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor as his best, and Davros as the figure I've got here. Davros is amazing. Julian Bleach, amazing. Now, that kind of makes up for me not meeting him at Bournemouth. But he was amazing. Missy was amazing. Clara was amazing. Even the side cast was amazing. I do have one niggle though. That's hashtag the planes have stopped. That didn't go anywhere. And that was in the main plot, main synopsis of the story. Which, I don't know. I really love seeing the shadow population again, and seeing Blowfish from Torchwood, a guy from Sarah Jane Adventures, Ood, Hath, Jejune, and Planet Khan. I loved seeing all those, and the score I give for this is a big 10 out of 10. I can't wait to hear the podcast on Friday. See you guys next time.
Thank you very much, Cousins.
Thanks, Cousins.
So he really liked it. A 10 out of 10 there from Cousins.
He's even dug out his Davros figure by the sounds of it.
Yes, he actually sent us a YouTube video. So if you didn't get that on the audio, he's basically showed us a couple of figures of a Dalek and Davros and stuff. So cheers, Cousins. That was very cool. Moving on to Facebook, Dean Jones. I didn't go into this with high or low expectations, so with that in mind, The Magician's Apprentice was a decent but flawed start to Series 9. Capaldi continued to be excellent as the Doctor, with some fun comedy and well-done drama. Coleman was good, but Clara didn't seem to have much to do in the first part. Whilst I still don't buy Missy as the Master, Michelle Gomez was quite entertaining. The Frozen Plains plot point didn't add anything to the story. It was great to see new and old Daleks used to great effect. Also, I didn't expect return of Davros, so I'm interested to see what happens next. The Witch's Familiar is required before I form a full opinion on the story, but right now I'd give it a 6 or a 7.
Fair play.
Jeff Waddle pops up again.
Oh, Jeff, he's a model.
Yep. He gives it a 2 out of 10. He says, a 10-minute story with 40 minutes of fluff that led nowhere. Davros was good, but that was about it. Given that Missy and Clara aren't dead, in brackets unfortunately, and the Doctor would never shoot a kid, the end was poor. Big reset button ahead. Yawn.
Well, we wait to... I can't... Jeff, you must tell us what you think of Witches Familiar next week. See if it's any higher.
Jeff really not liking The Magician's Apprentice. Anyways, Ryan Anthony. Well, it was bloody fantastic. The Doctor, Clara and Missy were amazing, and I'm genuinely enjoying the Daleks in it. The story was thrilling, and that cliffhanger was such a tease. Can't wait for The Witch's Familiar. At the moment I rate it 8.5, but it could change whilst I rewatch it. All hail Moffat for making a great Dalek story and for making something new and fresh. Joe Sweeney. Hi, Gary and Adam. Here is my review of the episode.
Hello.
I think the episode was fairly good, but there is a negative on it. The Master / Missy annoyed me a bit in this episode, even though I liked her in the last series finale. Didn't like the ending part when the Daleks shot Clara and the Master, when you just know they aren't dead, especially the start of the new series. So I found that scene very pointless. On a high positive note, Peter Capaldi continues to shine as the Doctor. His performance was brilliant as always. Loved his entrance with the electric guitar. Thought that was really cool. And most of all, great to see Davros again after 7 years, since Journey's End. Overall a good episode, but not brilliant. It's a bit more better than Death in Heaven. So I give it a reasonable 7.5. Bring on the Witch's Familiar.
It was Capaldi playing the guitar as well, wasn't it, for the most of it? He was actually playing it, wasn't he?
For most of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Michael Taylor. Simply loved it, my friends. I gave it a solid 9 out of 10. The Doctor and Missy have some awesome chemistry, and I can't wait to see them on screen together again. The sheer number of references to past series events had my jaw on the ground for the majority of the episode, an excellent way to start Series 9.
Yes.
And let's bring in another audio review. This is our friend Yanto Williams.
I'm not going to lie, it was a pretty awesome episode. Davros, basically, that's all I need to say. I mentioned previously that I just love Davros, and he's awesome, you can't not like him. And then you just got Peter Capaldi rocking it out on the tank in the 1100s or whenever it was, playing electric guitar. I mean, there wasn't electricity, so it was technically impossible, but who cares, it's Doctor Who. And he was just playing the Doctor Who theme, you don't get better than that. So if Series 9 carries on like this, then it's going to be epic.
Thank you, Lanto. You're correct. If it does carry on, it will be epic.
Yes.
Lewis Palmer. I thought it was really good. My opinion went down when I rewatched it, but I still like it. Capaldi gave perhaps his best performance yet. And as much as I despise Clara, she was actually tolerable in this episode. Missy was good, but she isn't like the Master at all. And that's where my problems come in. The innuendos were really what I thought brought this episode down. There's a time and place for them. The planes thing also went nowhere. But Davros, he was great. He gives it 8 out of 10.
Cool.
Jamie Ackerley, as near perfection as Who has ever been. 10 out of 10. It felt like an entire new production team. What other tricks has Moffat got in store? Michelle Gomez, genius throughout. Hadn't known about Davros, fantastic surprise. Scene with the hand mines were horrifically realised, beautiful and disturbing. Proper loved it.
Yeah.
Good review.
Yeah.
Mark Rawlins. The Davros reveal was a genuine good surprise. The opening sequence with the hand mines was great. The whole episode just seemed to be lots of setup, so I don't think a final verdict can be given until part 2, where I'm sure everything in this episode will be seen in a different light. Anne Jenkins, I loved it. Thank you very much. Yanto Williams as well. If the series continues like this, then who cares about the viewing figures? Doctor Who is back and is better than ever. Capaldi rocks. Mm-hmm. And lastly, we have another audio review. This is from Thomas Evans.
I personally thought The Magician's Apprentice was a really good episode. I thought it was a great way to kick off Capaldi's second series as the Doctor, really started the series with a big bang, it had Davros in it, which was great. It's always great to see Davros back. We had a load of Daleks, classic Dalek, special weapons Dalek, supreme Dalek. They all actually moved and talked, which was a lot more than what most of them done in Matt Smith's Asylum of the Daleks. That was nice to see. It was just a really good story overall. I'm really starting to warm to Missy now. The only thing I didn't like was really when her head came out the screen. I found that a little bit OTT, really. That was just my opinion. But overall, great episode. 10 out of 10. I've rewatched it about 6 times now. It's a great episode, and I really hope that the next episode, The Witch's Familiar, lives up to it. Because obviously, Magician's Apprentice was a really big episode. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Really loved it, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks.
Cheers, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas.
Another good review.
Yes, spot on.
That was really awesome, you guys sending in your audio clips and videos.
Yeah, I love hearing that. I love hearing our listeners' voice.
Yeah, because we never hear you guys.
No.
You hear us all the time, but we don't see or hear you. So that's really nice. So thank you so much for sending those in, and also to everyone that commented on Facebook as well. Did you have anything on Geeks?
Yes, it did. Yeah, I have to say comes back to I was amazed when the viewing figures come in because I have never had such a massive response to an episode. I mean, I literally got loads. The first time I put out the thing, it wasn't for the podcast actually. Got like so many comments, and then I put one up for the podcast, and I'll just pick out the ones we got for that. Adam Time Lord Fishwick. He says it was fantastic. It had a great opener, and many surprises seeing Davros, and a great cliffhanger. So Adam really enjoyed it. Harry Walker, The Magician's Apprentice, for me was quite impressive. There was a lot of spine-tingling fan service. Well, that's a good phrase. And I got a huge kick out of Davros coming back. I also think the pre-title sequence was a superb, isolated moment. I agree. Loads of other good things, and the cliffhanger was very intense. The problem lies with the rehashing of certain Moffat tropes, the Doctor's death, characters dying and coming back, predictable dialogue, etc. I will reserve judgment until the second part. So at the moment, it's a 7 out of 10. Okay, fair enough. George Coppen, he says, very enjoyable episode. Great way to open the series. Capaldi is brilliant, and I really like Colony Sarf. Right, I've mastered saying that now. I hope we see him again. Also, that scene where Capaldi rocks the guitar and Tank is brilliant and so funny. I actually do think Capaldi will pull the trigger, I think he means. Overall, a brilliant episode, 9 out of 10.
Cool.
Helen Jones, she says, Magician's Apprentice was an absolutely cracking start to a new series. I nearly fell off my chair when we found out the little boy was Davros. I'm glad that didn't get ruined for you, because I would have loved that. And I absolutely loved how they tied that the dilemma of killing a child you knew grew up to be evil, as in Genesis of the Daleks. All the performances were top-notch. Peter Capaldi was awesome, as always, and I loved Julian Bleach as Davros. Also notable for me was Claire Higgins as Ohila. Who's that?
O'Hara.
Who was that?
That was Sister Khan.
Oh, right, cool. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember her. Yes, yeah, we liked her as well. I'm a huge fan of hers, and I'm glad she has finally been included in a full episode. I'm really hoping at some point for a new story centered around the sisterhood of Khan. Interesting. A couple of points which grated with Helen. Could have done without the Missy tickling the Dalek spear, and even though watching Peter Capaldi playing electric guitar whilst riding a tank was a sight to behold, I think it went on a bit. Yes, we agree, Helen. I can't wait for next week's episode. It's a 9 out of 10.
Cool.
And finally, this one just in from Harry Westergaard. He says, I liked it, okay. Davros was cool and Capaldi was pretty good. Great to see the special weapons Dalek again. I think I need to watch it again. Yes, watch it again, Harry, and again and again and again.
And again and again.
Yeah, it was good to see the old special weapons Dalek. And he lit up as well, didn't he? I was like, oh, he's lighting up. He's getting excited. Yeah. So, yeah, there was loads. Yeah, such amazing feedback. And I think out of all the stuff I've seen, I think most of it's been positive, don't you? I think there's been a bit of a mixed bag, but I would say most of the stuff I've had feedback wise has been pretty positive towards this episode.
Yeah, me too. From the comments we've had in the reviews and just stuff that I've seen generally on the interwebs has all been mostly positive.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
There might be a couple of little hiccups with it, but that's Who for you.
It's one of my. I mean, that's the thing. I think I thought maybe on a second watch, like somebody else said earlier, I thought may go down. I may not enjoy it, or because obviously then the sort of gasp factors have gone on a second watch. But I have to say, I've watched this nearly 4 times now, and I'm still really, really enjoying it as an episode. Apart from that blimmin' tank scene, which does, I go out and make a cup of tea at that point. But yeah, I think it's a really strong opener. I haven't enjoyed rewatching an episode like this for quite a while. So I'm really looking forward to next week's, which is Familiar. I hope Moffat doesn't mess it up, because he does have a habit of doing a good part 1 and then part 2. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at you, Darkwater and Death in Heaven. I'm looking right at you.
Oh, yes.
I don't want that again. I'm really hoping Which is Familiar is as good, if not better. Which, if it's a 10 out of 10, wow. But yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to next week. You thought it was a good cliffhanger, didn't you? Because a few people said, a bit of a...
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very good cliffhanger. I think it's a predictable outcome.
Yeah, same here. I must admit, it's the first thing I thought. I thought, I know what he's going to do. But yeah.
It's a predictable outcome, but nonetheless, the actual... that it's very intense, that whole last scene, and it's done very well. So even though it's predictable, it's still really good. I loved it.
It built up really nicely, didn't it? Yeah.
It's all good.
So cool, yeah.
And I think we have rambled for long enough on this podcast.
Yes, that's it. That's enough Apprentice waffle. Oh, there is one last thing. I've been meaning to ask you this for ages since we watched it. Why is it called The Magician's Apprentice?
God, don't you even know?
No.
Oh, I can't believe you don't know that.
No, I don't know. It's driving me mad. What's the answer?
Oh, I just can't believe Adam just doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
I've no idea.
Hey.
I've
watched it 4 times, and it's What is it about? I can kind of see the prequel, maybe that, but why is it called Magician's Apprentice? If anyone knows or has a theory, let us know.
Yes, we'd love to hear your theories. Actually,
yeah, because that has been annoying me a little bit.
My theory is the Doctor is the magician.
Okay.
And that guy. No, that's a rubbish theory. Send us your thoughts.
Yeah.
On that one. That's going to get me thinking for a long time now.
It seems such a random title, and it has been bugging me. Yeah, I'd love to know.
It should hopefully be enlightened after episode 2.
I expect the Moffat will
possibly
let us know when he's ready.
Yeah. I think we will wrap there, buddy, before we go on any longer and people start switching off.
Let's wrap.
Thank you for sticking with us on this one. I know it's been slightly longer than usual, but we've had a lot to talk about, a lot to go through. Thank you so much for sending in all of your thoughts and reviews and musings. It's been so cool. You guys went nuts on Facebook, and you also sent in some quality audio and video clips as well. So thank you very much. This is not a one-off thing either. So in the future, if you want to send us an audio clip or a video clip of your review, feel free to do so. We'll play it on the show. We love that. We love hearing and seeing you guys. It's very cool. So 8.5. 9 each for the Magician's Apprentice from us.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think overall you guys are around that figure as well. It's mainly 9s and 10s and a couple of 8s, but a couple of people really not liking it. But yeah,
Jeff, we're looking at you.
Maybe once we've seen the first 2 parts together and you give them a rewatch together, it might change your mind. But yeah, overall very cool. And we can't wait for The Witches Familiar next week.
Yeah, so looking forward to that.
It's going to be cool. Right, it's trivia. Because I forgot a couple of weeks ago. Last week we asked you, after the story The Daleks, which is the next story to see the Doctor visiting Skaro? And the answer is The Evil of the Daleks. Patrick Troughton. Yeah. Cousins 2019. Thank you for sending your answer in, but you got it wrong. You said Genesis of the Daleks, but a good try. Alex Kingdom, you said The Evil of the Daleks, so you smashed it. Well done.
Well done, Alex.
Trivia for this week. On what date was Victorian Clara born?
Ooh.
On what date was Victorian Clara born?
I liked Victoria Clara, didn't you?
Yeah, she was quite cool. Slight Cockney accent, I think, when she was in front of the punters.
Yeah.
Right, so just jump onto Twitter and Facebook and give us your answer. I don't think there's anything else to go through. Right, so remember to check out the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to everything. You can also subscribe on iTunes from there, and Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. Be sure to check out Adam's channel, the Geek's Handbag, on YouTube and Facebook. Enjoy The Witches Familiar tomorrow night. We look forward to your reviews and thoughts on that. Until then, my name's Gary.
And my name's Adam.
And remember, Alonze!